The Southern Railway's Pacific Class locomotives, a larger locomotive type built for a specific train, known as the Crescent Limited. Today, we shall cover their stories, both the locomotive and the named train, so sit back and enjoy. Stepping into my backyard of East Tennessee. The Southern Railway was a major railway that had many stops in the local area, which I will cover in a story video about my hometown later this year. For right now, however, we shall cover their Pacific Class, the Ps-4s. The Southern Railway Ps-4s were a class of 4 steam locomotives built for the Southern Railway, as well as its subsidiaries, the Alabama Great Southern Railroad and the Cincinnati, New Orleans and Texas Pacific Railway. The locomotives were notable for their green, with gold trim liveries and have been regarded by Smithsonian curator John White Jr. as among the most celebrated passenger locomotives operated in the United States. During the 1920s, the Southern Railway's roster consisted of smaller P1, Ps2, Ps3, and P5 Pacifics that could not handle the longer and heavier mainline passenger trains between Washington, D.C. and Atlanta. The Southern ordered the more powerful PS for heavy Pacific Class, with the first batches built between 1923 and 1924 by the American Locomotive Company, with 27 of them delivered to the Southern, numbered 1366 to 1392. These locomotives were derived from the standard US RA heavy Pacific design, but had notable differences based on the Southern's needs. The final Ps-4s were built in 1928 by the Baldwin Locomotive Works, consisting of only 5 locomotives for the Southern, numbered 1405 to 1409. Out of all 64 locomotives built, 1 has survived. Number 1401 was donated to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. in 1953, only a year after her last revenue run. It wouldn't be until 1955 when the Institute decided to take in 1401 as a permanent display piece. Until their decision was made, she was stored in the Henry Street Yard in Alexandria, Virginia. By 1961, she was cosmetically restored to her original green and gold livery and put on permanent display in the Smithsonian. Since that year, she has been on permanent display in the building, sharing the history of these locomotives and the railway they served. On April 26, 1925, the previously known New York and New Orleans Limited became the Crescent Limited after an array of coaches and locomotive were provided. The new coaches, which at the time were Pullman heavyweights, were painted in the iconic Virginian green and gold. The locomotive, which was the previously mentioned PS for Pacific locomotive, were also painted in this livery, giving the named train a fresh look that, in my opinion, rivals the beauty of the daylight. By 1938, the name became simply the Crescent, and by the early 40s, the train slowly became streamlined and dieselized. By 1947, the beautiful green and gold Crescent Limited became a stainless steel, yet streamlined train due to the change. The train lost its beauty and charm, and became another commuter train for the Southern Railway by 1950.